The WNBA is now a thing. The WNBA is now interesting. Why? One woman, Caitlin Clark. We've chronicled the summer of Caitlin on this show basically all summer. So, what am I talking about? The WNBA has made certain concessions to the players, right? They got a month off to go to the Olympics. Okay. They got private planes now. Okay. But you know what's coming. You know what's coming. The more somebody is given now, the more they want. And there's a little insufferable Connecticut Sun guard named DeJory Carrington. And she's a complete pain in the ass. Not in a good way either. I guess maybe there are people in the Carrington family that wake up and go, we want to watch Dijonay go play basketball. And maybe there are some Connecticut Sun fans that say, we want to watch Dijonay play basketball. But for 27 years, players like Dijonay have done nothing to grow the WNBA. Okay. But now Dijonay is calling out the WNBA, her league, that's given her an opportunity to be completely incognito, yet make money playing basketball in a great basketball state, which is Connecticut. She's calling the league out for failing to promote, in her mind, the team's historic game before a sellout crowd Tuesday night in the Boston Garden. I'll call it the Boston Garden. It's like the DT or BT or some kind of garden. It's the Boston Garden. Adding that the matchup against the Los Angeles Sparks should have been nationally televised after they headlined in the league's first ever game in the TD Garden. Let's hear from a woman who has absolutely nothing to do with the growth of women's basketball other than bitch, whine, and moan. First, about Caitlin Clark, now about the league not promoting her team. Let's hear.
On a historic event with the Connecticut Sun in Boston for the first game ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep it real all the time. And I feel like Connecticut as a franchise is historically disrespected. So sometimes, you know, if you want something, you got to go out there and do it yourself. So that's what I did for us. I think that there could have been a lot more publicity or promo from the top, you know. Connecticut had announced that we were having this game probably almost a year ago, maybe. I don't know. Sometime right after last season. So there was ample time to do what needed to be done. But it didn't matter anyway, because they showed up and it was sold out. We got the dub, so I guess my tweet worked. And the game should have been on a national television broadcast. You shouldn't have to pay for any type of subscription to see a game that's this historic, in my opinion. I'm biased, but in my opinion.
Thank you, DJ.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you know, in her opinion, that's fine. But again, what should happen here as you grow the league is everybody should be in unison that the league is doing a great job. The league allowed you, had the foresight to play in the Garden, had the foresight to sell out every ticket in the Garden. And I'm guessing there are a few people that came to see Ms. Carrington. I'm guessing. But here was her tweet about this as well. Since we got to do our own promo, really? I mean, they already had 19,000 before you started promoing. We're playing at the TD Garden tonight, and it's sold out, 19K plus. First W game here, historic, not on TV, but you can catch it right here on Twitter. Well, maybe, just maybe, that's a little insight. If had Caitlin Clark been playing in the Garden, it would have been on NBC or ESPN or ION or wherever, NBA TV. But Ms. Carrington, I got to tell you, you can keep whining, keep bitching, keep moaning, and it ain't going to help. We've heard the whining. We've heard the OG bitching. We've heard it all. And nobody cares. Now, they care about Caitlin Clark. And by her not doing that, by her not complaining, by her just showing up and bawling out, yo, she's become an icon. She's become an international figure. But wait, there's more. The young ladies, America's most immature star, Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart, they want more time off after the Olympics. Now that there is a potential new union contract. Of course. Of course. They want more time off. The league is smart enough to know, hey, look, we got to be careful because, frankly, the NFL rules the roost. So the NFL season starting is potentially very bad for everybody. It sucks the oxygen out of the room, including with the WNBA. But these women don't care. They're bawling now, yo. I think that even in a non-Olympic year, you think about All-Star. It's like everyone needs some time after the All-Star break. You play 20 games. You play 40 games for crying out loud, 20 before the All-Star break. What the hell? I mean, god dang. Or it's not a break. So trying to kind of push that into the CBA, I think, would be really important, especially follow the Olympics. We've never had an Olympics in a 40-game season, except this year. Jesus. I mean, honest to God, do you ever hear anything positive out of any woman not named Caitlin Clark? Do you? All you hear is complaining, bitching, whining, moaning. America's most immature MVP, Asia Wilson. I think if it is a chance for us to go to the table and say, hey, we should get more rest time, even if it's just a couple of days. It's crazy to see players play fresh off a plane in a sense. So, yeah, I don't mind asking for that. That's wonderful. Ask away. You should. I mean, the goal of the American worker should be to get paid for not having to work. I mean, you're following your brethren in the NBA. We want to get paid 30, 40, 50 million, but we really don't want to work. 10 games in a row? Are you kidding me? Load management must come in. 3 games in a week? Are you insane? No, I see what you're doing, WNBA. You're following the path. Good for you. Good for you, but while you're doing it, hope and pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get hurt, because the minute she gets hurt, it all goes in the toilet. Speaking of toilet, Awful Announcing. Our friends at Awful Announcing, Little Benny Koo's website, is and will always pander for anyone on the left in broadcasting. If you're on the left, Awful Announcing is your thing, yo. Oh, man, they were shilling for Robert Griffin III. Haven't heard him say much about Sage Steele other than to criticize her. Not really fair and balanced, Awful Announcing. Little Benny Koo and his band of minions, Little Benny Axelrod, who looks exactly like what you would think somebody working for a far-left, crazy-ass media website would look. They're at it again. This time it's little Laura Rutledge. Laura Rutledge, well, the insufferable, the pageant queen, Laura Rutledge, who has never stood for anything, so she'll fall for anything. She has smartly stayed out of the fray. Her friend, Sage Steele, who helped her rise at ESPN by being a mentor, when she was being unfairly fired, did Laura Rutledge say a thing? Of course not. I get it. You're trying to keep your job. You're the breadwinner of the family. You're making a lot of money. You're getting great hair extensions. And next thing you know, you're on TV. Look, kids, I'm on TV. But anyway, Laura Rutledge is being asked, when will she get the opportunity that she has earned at ESPN? Let me explain something. Yeah, they're nothing. Nobody turns on a television and says, wow, I want to hear what Laura Rutledge has to say. What Laura Rutledge has done at ESPN, and this isn't a woman or man thing, She has been given an opportunity to work at ESPN. She has been given the opportunity to host NFL Live and the other shows. There are 8 bazillion blonde-haired little Laura Rutledges out there. She's been given the opportunity by executives. As we talked about yesterday, it only takes one executive at ESPN to make you or to break you. And that's the entire deal at ESPN. So she hasn't earned anything. She hasn't been this great must-listen to Ernie Johnson controlling the sideline. She's been good, fine, okay. She hasn't earned a damn thing, but here's what Awful Announcing said. Wow. NFL Live has become one of ESPN's most dependable programs. Huh? What? Say what? Dependable, that means it's on TV. It doesn't mean it's great. Doesn't mean it's must watch. It means, 4 o'clock, it's on. Who's the host? I don't know. Does it matter? Not really. It's the NFL. We'll listen. And the chemistry, see, these are all vague things. This is like the DNC talking about, forget policy, it's joy. Rutledge, and the chemistry Rutledge produces with regular castmates, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky, and Marcus Beer, is special. No, it's not. It's dependable. It's exactly what it is. It's dependable. It's average. You said it yourself. It's not great. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone say a negative word about Rutledge regarding her hosting work at ESPN. You'd be hard-pressed to say anything good about it. She's just a nondescript blonde girl in a world of 8 million nondescript blonde girls. She should be someone ESPN builds around as a present and future cornerstone of the network. Why? Why? They didn't do it with Tirico. They didn't do it with Nestler. They didn't do it with Dan Patrick. I mean, why? Because she's a woman? Because she's far left? I don't even know if she's far left. My guess is there's no chance that Laura Rutledge, and I hate to break this to Little Benny Koo and Benny Axelrod, but I got to tell you, there's no chance any of these folks votes for Kamala Harris and her 45% capital gains tax. There's no chance any of these privately support it. Of course they don't. Nobody does. Laura Rutledge hasn't earned nothing. Zero, zip. She's on the Cool Kids Club. That places like Awful Announcing and others are comfortable showing, look, we promote women, average women, nondescript women, but women. There's nothing about Laura Rutledge that says she's better than Mike Tirico. Not even close. Not even in the same sphere. Nothing about her that says she's better than Brad Nestler, Dan Patrick. What are you talking about? The place is built around 2 people right now. Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee, period. You can make the argument that during football season, Kirk Herbstreit. And that's it. You can't make the argument that anybody, I guess you could say Aikman and Joe Buck or whatever his name is, Buck. But the truth of the matter is, ESPN could do without them and do just fine in the ratings. They don't understand that. They tried a bunch of different dudes, didn't really work. They tried some DEI, and away we go, didn't really work. But Buck and Aikman aren't anything special. They're okay. They're good. People feel comfortable with them. When they call a game, they know it's a good game. But don't give me this crap about Laura Rutledge should be anything other than what she is, a host of different shows. Dependable. Solid. That's it. Stop it. Just stop it. The game, all right, hang on, caller. I got more. So if you're ESPN, why not deepen your top talent line? Well, you should, but you should do it with talent. Continue building a new star. Reward the work Laura Rutledge does covering the NFL on a daily and weekly basis. Well, but nobody notices because she's not anything other than dependable. Well, I give yet another role to Mike Greenbergs of the world who already risk overexposure. Nuh-uh. People depend on Mike Greenberg. Mike Greenberg is a star. He's not dependable. He's more than that. Now, I'm tired of watching Greenberg. I'm tired of the Jets. I don't watch, actually. I used to. When he had Mike and Mike, it was interesting. Bonus points if Greeny mentions he's a Jets fan week 1 on Countdown. It's like NBC forcing Jimmy Fallon onto the Summer Olympics coverage because of some unwritten rule or obligation that only NBC execs felt, and nobody was really asking for. Well, absolutely nobody even knows who Laura Rutledge is. I'm spending a lot of time doing a show talking about somebody nobody knows who she is. The same is seemingly true here at ESPN. It's a shame that Laura Rutledge wasn't given one of these NFL pregame opportunities based on her excellent work and rapport with NFL fans. Hopefully someday she will. She has no rapport with NFL fans. See, what I'm saying is all of this you can't calculate. All of what they're saying is like the DNC talking about joy. It's just complete nonsense. It's verbiage. It's talk. There is no connection. Nobody watches to see what Laura Rutledge has to say. She's okay as a host. She's fine as a host. But Greenberg has shown himself to be excellent. Although I have personally, let me just explain. I personally have a problem with people like Laura Rutledge who didn't have the to stand up at least a little bit for Sage Steele. Sage Steele mentored all these women. Sage Steele set up women's forums for all these women. And when it came cutting time, Laura Rutledge, Elle Duncan, and the rest ran like Judas, baby. Or like Peter falling asleep 3 times. It's biblical. We get biblical here occasionally. Don't at me about it. What are you looking at? I went to 12 years of Catholic school. Leave me alone. But anyway, there you go. Laura Rutledge is exactly where she belongs. She's okay. What do the kids say? She's mid. All right. Stephen A. Smith chimes in on the Tua Tagovailoa comments regarding Brian Floyd, claiming he doesn't believe it was an accident that Tua Tagovailoa said what he said. Let's hear from Sass.
Because when you look at Tua, I don't think it's an accident that Tua said what he said when he said it. I don't think it's an accident that Dan Le Batard asked him when he asked him. Dan Le Batard does his show in Miami. Dan Le Batard lives in Miami. Dan Le Batard in Miami all day, every day, all the time. And now is when you ask that question? There ain't no damn accident. I'm saying to you, Brian Flores, you see through all of that because he's a smart man. You see through all of that. I don't think it's an accident that it happened. And I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm speculating. Openly admit that. I'm just watching it because as a scribe, as a reporter, long before I became a pundit, I've been in this business for 30 years now. I've seen it. And I know most of the time, again, you connect dots. And if you're Miami and you're the NFL, even though Molly is absolutely right, both things can be true. When you got a case pending against you, you're looking for an advantage. Tua provided it. Brian Flores didn't knock it down. I'm saying that's the reality. Yeah. What comes of it, I have no idea. But that is the reality.
There you go. There you go. Could be right. Look, I always believe that there's a backstory. There is. I mean, there is a backstory. And I don't disagree with what Stephen A. Smith said there. The backstory is you got a lawsuit. You're the highest paid employee of a particular sports team that is going through a lawsuit with a particular employee, Brian Flores, and your highest paid guy comes out and rips him. See, Flores went the racist route, and that's a hard cover for him. Says he got fired for racism. Well, here is, I'm not sure, he's Hawaiian, he's a man of color. Here comes Tua ripping him. The black general manager that fired the black coach hired, I guess, Mike McDaniel claims to be black at different times, white at different times. Who the hell knows? But at least, he's 50-50, I guess. It really doesn't hold water what Flores is trying to do, but give Flores credit. He read the room. See, when Flores filed this lawsuit a couple years ago, racism was taken serious. Now racism is thrown out like, I don't know, today's trash. It's just tossed around and then taken out and then tossed around again and taken out. The word's been cheapened. Real racism is awful. But Brian Flores wasn't a victim of real racism. But I will give Brian Flores this, and I will tell Tua to shut his mouth about this. Brian Flores, when the season got tough, went 10-5. That's 2 wins for 1 loss. The current guy, Mr. Nice Guy, that everybody in the media loves because, well, isn't he quirky? Look at him change his hair. He wears little girl pants on the sideline. He is 4-10 in November. Now, you tell me, I don't know, you could yell, scream, bitch, whine, and moan at me as long as we won. I won't care, and I didn't care when I was a player. I didn't even care when I was a coach. I'm going to yell, scream, do whatever I can to get us to win. Some guys quit, some guys thrive. What are you going to do? But I believe there is a backstory. And I do believe with Stephen A. Smith. It's no coincidence that all of a sudden, out of the blue, this comes up. 2 guys in Miami that one wants access, Le Batard. I mean, without Miami, what does Le Batard really have? I didn't even know Le Batard was still doing a show. And, of course, the number 1 employee, Stephen Ross, the owner, gave Tua Tagovailoa more money than he can ever spend based on the mediocre results that he has given. It's kind of a good deal for Tua. But, again, I'm always a guy that believes in a backstory. I will always believe in a backstory because every article written when I was at Indiana on Bob Knight or written about me, it ain't true, and there's always a backstory. Just my experience. I ain't mad at you, Stephen A. I think you're on to something without question. Legendary sideline reporter, friend of the program, Michele Tafoya. She's not buying. Nobody's buying ESPN's reasoning for firing Sam Ponder. It wasn't budgetary issues, and it was more a political issue, and I agree. I agree with Michele. Look, Sam Ponder could have been fired if it was budgetary months ago. Now, again, if it was budgetary, what I'm saying has a backstory. It does. But I know ESPN well enough to know it's their number 1 property, and don't think for a second, not 1 second, things happen in a vacuum. Meaning, since the end of last season, I guarantee you Sam Ponder has heard from Seth Markham, her boss. Now, Seth Markham is a crazy-ass liberal, apparently. That's what I've been told, allegedly. And Seth Markham has had issue with Sam Ponder's liking. Think about that. Executive at ESPN worried about tweets you are liking. Sam, I saw this supposedly happen. I saw you liked a Ben Shapiro tweet. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And Sam is not one to back down. Sam didn't get to where she was by being, well, what she looks like, just a nice little girl. She is a very nice woman. But she worked her ass off. She commuted. She went to school at Liberty. Actually worked at the ESPN Zone restaurant in Manhattan, thinking that's where all the ESPN executives work. That's what she did. Told me this one day. We're in a car driving to a game. And I'm like, you did? She goes, yeah, I just figured that's where they worked. Well, it turned out one of the guys got to talk to Sam, gave him his number. He was an ESPN guy that had some sucks, had some influence. Sam called, interview came, she's working. Nobody quite likes Sam and her story. So my point, it didn't just happen in a vacuum. Season's over, you could have fired her. Season goes on, you called her in. Don't tell me it's budgetary when you bitched, whined, and moaned at her for liking tweets, when you bitched, whined, and moaned at her for tweeting out support for folks like Sage Steele or Kirk Herbstreit. Don't do that. Don't lie to us. We may look stupid, or I may look stupid, but looks can be deceiving. And you know what? Michele Tafoya agrees. Call me whatever names you want, but it doesn't change the fact that it is inherently unfair for biological males to compete in women's sports, Ponder wrote on X. It's literally the reason they were separate in the first place and the reason we need Title IX. Okay. Now that cuts at the core. In fact, Pat McAfee yesterday alluded to the fact that ESPN wanted him to stop talking about Caitlin Clark. Why? Caitlin Clark's a straight white girl. What do they want at ESPN? Got to highlight the sisters, the OGs, the OG lesbians. Yeah, you do. You've been doing it for 27 years and no one's cared. I'm telling you, the email that I sent to Jimmy Patero, do you ever look at what you've become? They don't. Here's Michele. I don't believe that anything is just budget cuts anymore. I think that they clearly wanted to find an off-ramp for Sam. What's troubling to me is the timing. This is 3 weeks before the NFL season starts. Now, you got to understand at ESPN, college basketball is just inventory. College basketball to ESPN is no different than Australian rules football was when it first started. Just a place to fill time, put games on. Boom, boom, throw games. Fill from 3 to 8 at night, 10 at night, midnight, 2 in the morning. But the NFL, hey, baby, that's the moneymaker. That's shaking that moneymaker. That's the business. Well, anyway, her show, NFL Countdown, is coming off its best rating year in quite some time. So I don't know why they would do this so close to the season, bring so much attention, unless they want to bring in the next host and give that host a lot of attention. Well, they didn't do it. Because when you hire Greeny, people just go ho-hum. But what Sam said in that tweet was so reasonable. I want you to think about this for just a second. I want you to think about this. She has to preface her tweet, Sam Ponder did, with call me whatever names you want. But it doesn't change the fact that it is inherently unfair for biological males to compete in female sports. Just think about that for a second. How is that controversial? How would that lead to names being called? Just that fact alone. In a reasonable, not crazy ass society. It shouldn't. It can't. It does. And it leads to you being fired. Just think about that. That sentence, it is unfair for biological males to compete in female sports. 10 years, 5 years, anyone outside the crazy-ass world of ESPN would go, okay, so what? Move it along, right? But now it's fireable. World's nuts. Hulk Hogan, speaking in jest at a promotional event for his new brand of beer, suggests he is willing, what are you doing, to body slam Kamala Harris. What? What? Come on. Want me to body slam Kamala Harris? Want me to drop a leg on Kamala? Is Kamala a chameleon? Is Kamala Indian? I'm going to get heat for that one, brother. That was not me. That was the beer talking. That'll be a big deal, right? Man threatens to beat up woman. Well, I mean, I saw Bill Clinton on last night. I mean, they don't care what men do to women. They don't care what men do to young women. And before you say anything about it, right there up this hill to the left lives a Clinton. And the stories when Bill and not Bill, but when Bill's first cousins, close family members come for the Indy 500 and stay right there with their cousin, the stories of Uncle Bill not being allowed, even as a young man, in a room alone with family member women are unbelievable. Bill Clinton's book being read at that house by a fire, and they're going, yeah, this is total nonsense. Yeah, this is a lie. Yeah, this is total crap. Don't act, you Democrats, like you care anything about women, because I know you're going to attack the Hulkster. Don't be saying body slam women, Hulk. What are you, an idiot? Be smarter than that. I know you're a professional wrestler, and you're all about promotion, but that's just stupid. I don't care if you're speaking in jest. I don't care. be careful what you wish for. Part 2, you get into Dartmouth. You're all excited. You're going to play basketball. And then you got to join a union. You got to join a union when I'd be like, yo, I just want to hoop. Why am I joining a union? Well, apparently at Dartmouth, you got to join the union. Now, of course, basketball players, 18 to 23-year-olds who know all, they are accusing the school of unfair labor practice. Listen to this. The union representing the Dartmouth men's basketball team filed an unfair labor practice complaint Wednesday against the school because it refused to negotiate with the players on a collective bargaining agreement. Service Employees International Union Local 560, which already represents other Dartmouth workers, said the failure to bargain was a violation of both labor law and the school's own code of ethics. Dartmouth responded by announcing it would not bargain with the players, a tactic designed to force the case into court in the hopes that a federal judge will overturn the National Labor Relations Board decision. It's the only lever Dartmouth has to get the matter reviewed by federal court. If I'm Dartmouth, I'm like, yeah, we're done with basketball. What does Dartmouth need basketball for? I mean, seriously. Dartmouth doesn't need basketball. Harvard doesn't need basketball. Yale doesn't need basketball. They don't need basketball. I'd be like, yo, all right, good for you guys. We're done. We're out. Intramural sports only. Coach, we'll give you an extra year on your contract. Assistant coaches, players, go wherever you want. We're done. We're out. We're out. And the long tradition of the Dartmouth Mean Green or whatever the hell they're called basketball have ended. I'd be seriously considered doing that. The hell they need basketball for? Basketball doesn't make them any money. Basketball don't do nothing. Hey, Nick, last time you sat around and said, yo, I got to watch Dartmouth play basketball. You ever done it?
Not once, not never, not ever. I was just
Did they just restart our stream on Twitter?
I was online and I was looking up all the players that went to Pennsylvania and Harvard and Dartmouth and made the league. There's only 4 that went to Harvard. There was only 6 that went to Dartmouth. There's 12 that went to Pennsylvania. You ever heard of a guy named Bob Bigelow?
Bobby Biggs? No.
Bobby Biggs? No. Okay. Jerome Allen. He played for the Pacers.
Yeah. He got Jerome Allen got busted when he was the head coach at Penn for having players' parents would pay him, and then he would put him on a preferred recruit list so he could get in. I know Jerome Allen. Go ahead. Who else?
These are all the guys from Penn. Jack McCloskey.
Oh, yeah. Legendary coach.
Okay. He was on the Sixers.
Yeah.
Howie Dalmar.
No.
No. All right. Let's go to Dartmouth, actually. Let's see if you know these guys. James Blackwell.
No.
No. George Monroe.
Of the Fighting Monroes? No.
Aud Brindley.
No.
Walter Palmer.
Walt Palm? Big guy, 7-footer. Might have heard of him. Maybe.
7'2".
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I've heard of him. I didn't know he played in the league. Yeah, I knew he was a big guy.
Ed Lead.
Easy Ed Lead? No.
All right, last one. Let's go to Harvard.
Harvard had Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, I was going to say he was the first one. Jeremy Lin would have been my first one. All right. These guys, honestly, before Jeremy Lin, the most recent guy to get drafted out of Harvard to make it to the league was 1951.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Ed Smith.
Like if the Ivy League said, "All right, we're done. This is a hassle. You're making this too difficult, right? I mean, who needs this? No, nobody would miss it. My stepdaughter, as you know, went to Harvard. I think she went to a basketball game, like one. I would argue that women's and men's hockey is more interesting at Harvard than basketball. And I like Tommy Amaker. Tommy Amaker is a friend. But no. 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 No.
So let's listen to the stat line real
listen-
quick. Listen to the stat line real quick.
Yeah.
Ed Smith, 1951 draft year. Overall, points per game, 2.92. Rebounds per game, 2.67. Assists per game, 0.83. Damn. That's
Sounds like
rough.
my college stats at Indiana. Well,
Yeah, but you
like I said,
but you D'd up Michael Jordan, so who's the real winner, honestly?
kicked his ass. He never recovered.
his
It's
ass.
amazing. He really never recovered. He never got over that. He struggled his
he
whole
still
life.
thinks about it when he
Alcoholism,
sleeps.
gambling.
He
Damn
still
right
thinks
he
about it
does.
too.
Damn right. Damn, I'm in his head.
Rent free.
By the way, heads up, world. Nick and I and the entire show, we're on. Guess what? What are we on? Doesn't even say. No. Oh, Fox Nation. That's right. Oh, you can watch Nick and I on all the fantastic places. So don't out me. OutKick page, YouTube X, all your favorite social media platforms. But now you can catch us on Fox Nation. If you or your loved ones own Fox Nation, be sure to tune in. Stream us every weekday, Monday through Friday. And remember, America is streaming.